I wish that I had never tried to reconnect with my grandmother. She has hurt me in a way that I never thought a family member would. Now I wish I had listened to my parents and never tried to contact her. I just know that they're going to say that they told me so when I tell them how the woman humiliated me. I'm so ashamed that I don't even know what to do with myself. For a bit of backstory, let me introduce myself. You can call me Ella. I'm 19 years old and I'm staying with my parents, male 41 and female 39. My dad is white and my mom is Mexican. I've grown up around my mom's family and I'm very immersed in her culture. I cannot say the same about my dad's side of the family. My dad doesn't speak to them and I've never known why. The last time I saw his family was over 10 years ago. I've often asked what happened between him and his parents, but he shuts me down every time. Recently, I reconnected with a cousin of mine, Stacy, female 21. Stacy came to the restaurant where I work one day. I recognized her but could not quite place her. She also recognized me and ended up asking if I was Ella and said my father's surname. I was so happy when I realized that we were cousins. I asked her what she was doing in town and she said that she lived in the next town and was here to visit a friend. We exchanged phone numbers and started to talk. She asked me about what happened between my dad and his mom. She claimed that it had been a family mystery for years. Unfortunately, I didn't have any answers for her. She then told me that she had an idea. She wanted me to come to Grandma's birthday party the following week. She suggested that I introduce myself to Grandma and hopefully start the process of reuniting Grandma and my dad. I thought that was a wonderful idea, so of course I decided to go to the party. I lied to my parents about where I was going because I wanted to surprise them when I finally met Grandma. Now I wish that I'd never gone to meet that cruel woman. She's the worst person in the world and I cannot believe that I'm related to her. When I got there, I got a lot of stares from the family. None of them seemed to recognize me. I saw Stacy and she was the one who took me to Grandma. From the beginning, Grandma was rude to me and didn't even give me a chance to introduce myself before she started ordering me around like I was the help. I decided to play along until I got her alone, then I could reveal the truth to her. I consider myself to be a patient person, but I nearly lost my patience with her. She was terrible. She did not know how to speak to the people who were helping her. I started to not like her and thought that maybe her attitude was why my dad didn't want to be around her. I had no idea that I was about to find out that there was more to this. Later on that day, Stacy came to me and asked if I finally got to talk to her. I asked if she was usually like that. Stacy said that she has moods sometimes, but that she was usually much better. That was honestly a relief to learn, and that gave me the courage to try to talk to my grandma again. I ended up going up to her and asking if I could have her attention for a minute. I then broke the news to her that I was not one of the workers for her event. I was actually her son's daughter. I expected a much warmer response from her. Instead, she coldly asked me which son I was talking about. I said my dad's name and she rolled her eyes. She told me to go back to my dad. She did not accept me as her grandchild. I was so shocked and hurt by her words. I asked what my dad had done for her to cut him off like that. She said that she did not want Mexican dirt like me in her face. I was shocked, so this was about my race. I was disgusted. I told her that she was being very mean. She told me that she didn't care. She had every right not to want a drug dealer in her family. I told her that my mom was not a drug dealer. She laughed and said we were all the same, and the little bit of whiteness I had wouldn't change that. I was shocked by the hate she was spewing. She then told me to leave her party because she didn't have space for me. I just stood there, frozen in horror as the memory of my grandmother got tarnished. I don't remember a lot about her. I was around 9 or 10 when my dad stopped taking me to her place. I interacted with her very few times, but I didn't remember her being hostile towards me. All these years, I thought my dad was keeping me from her for selfish reasons, not knowing that he was actually saving me from having to be treated like a second-class citizen by my own family. As I was standing there, some man came from nowhere and told me that I had to leave. He grabbed my arm like I was some kind of criminal and walked me to the gate. I tried to get out of his grip, telling him that I could make my own way out, but he dug his fingers deeper into my arm. I had red marks when he finally let me go. He told me never to set foot on that property again or I would go to jail next time. Then he left me standing there. I got a message from Stacy. She told me that she could not drive me back home because her mom was forcing her to stay. She sent me some money to get an Uber and I got the hell out of there. I'm ashamed to say that I was crying in the car. The driver asked me what was going on, but I was too heartbroken to tell him. Luckily for me, he gave me some tissues. Stacy called me hours later to apologize. She said that while Grandma could be snobby, she did not think she would be so rude to me. She said that she had heard whispers over the years about the reason behind her and my dad's estrangement. It had something to do with her not approving of his marriage. She always thought that it had to do because my mom was from a different class, but now she could see it was not the case. It was because my mom was from a different race, and our grandma was racist. So then I asked her why she even invited me. Could she not see that Grandma was racist? She then admitted that she had led a pretty sheltered life. She never had to think about race. At school and at work, she had been surrounded by people of different races and she had gotten along well with them. So then I asked her if she thought the rest of the family was like that. She said that while she never paid attention to how they usually reacted to other races, she was suspicious of some family members. She then begged me not to cut ties with her. Since I was the only girl cousin who stayed close by, she wanted to stay in contact with me. She said that she did not support what my grandma did, and she wants to make it up to me. I've decided that she's the only family member from my dad's side of the family that I'm going to keep in my life. The rest of them can rot for all I care. Comments. Comment 1. Oh dear, I cannot believe that a grown woman would stoop to such a low level. Don't mind her, she's a bitter old woman whose life is over. The high road is always better to take. You guys in the comment section were definitely right. She got what was coming to her. My advice to you is that you should just forget your grandmother. Never speak about her or go to her house again. Right now, focus on yourself and leveling up. It's so sad that she stereotyped you like that. I don't know you personally, but I don't think you're anything like she says. In life, you will encounter people like this more often than you can imagine. When that happens, always remind yourself that they are the ones with the problem and not you. Other than that, I wish you the best of luck with the whole situation. I wonder if you're going to tell your parents about this or not. I'm sure that they're not going to be too happy about it. Comment 2. And they say that curiosity killed the cat. Clearly your parents were trying their hardest to protect you by keeping you away from your grandmother. Her whole family seems to be toxic, except for Stacy, but we'll see about that. I do find it kind of suspicious that she would just throw you in the middle of the wolves and expect you to survive. She's lived with those people her whole life, and she knows how they function. That's why I'm very puzzled about the fact that she wanted you to meet them. But then again, since she meets your grandmother's standards, I'm sure she's never had to be subjected to such treatment. I honestly fear for you. Your grandmother seems to be someone who might make life difficult for you just because you ruined her party. I think that you should try to lay low and make sure that you never cross paths with her again. Narrator's opinion. How shocking! What was supposed to be a family reunion ended up being a nightmare for OP. Here she was thinking that she was going to reunite her family, but fate had other plans. Her horrible treatment was very unnecessary. OP deserves so much better after making an effort to travel all the way to wish her grandmother a happy birthday. Unfortunately for her, it ended in tears and regret. Should she have just let sleeping dogs lie and never contacted her grandmother? Or is it good that finally her eyes are open and she can better appreciate her parents keeping her safe? Update 1, 2 weeks later. Here I was thinking that I had put that hag in my past. I know it's not a nice thing to say about one's grandma, but right now, I don't care. I don't consider that woman to be related to me after what she did to me. I was leaving her alone. Why did she have to come to my place of work and ruin things for me? She really is cruel. I wish that I had listened to my dad's warnings. As for my dad, he's very pissed off. He had no choice but to find out that I reached out to her after I got escorted home by the cops. I nearly went to jail because of that woman. Luckily, my dad talked to her and got her to drop the charges. Afterward, he made me tell him everything. I told him everything that happened at the party and he was furious. He then asked me if I stayed in touch with her after the party and I said no. I only hung out with Stacy and it was every once in a while. Somehow that woman found out where I worked and she showed up. She was the worst person to serve. She kept on sending things back and complaining about the service. After she was done with that, she gave me a $2 tip. Then she said that it would go a long way for someone like me. I was so glad when she finally left, but I didn't get to celebrate for long. 10 minutes later, she came back and claimed that she had lost her gold watch. She said that she saw it last when she was at my table. She accused me of being the one who stole it. She claimed that I had been rude to her the whole night. She also said that she felt I was resentful because she didn't give me a big tip. I explained to my manager that she was my racist grandma who was just trying to cause trouble for me. He told me that was a very serious accusation to make and that would get me arrested. I tried to speak up for myself, but I got shut down. It got even worse when she forced my manager to call the cops so that they could question me. They searched me, my car, and my locker like I was some kind of thief. I was relieved to hear that they found nothing. I was afraid that she might plant something and make it look like I stole it. That would ruin my entire future before I even got anywhere. The cops said they were going to take me in for questioning. I asked if I could call my dad and let him know where I would be, and they were kind enough to let me. I was en route to the station when they suddenly changed direction and drove me home. I got home to a message from my manager telling me not to come in until the investigation was concluded. He told me that I was on an unpaid leave, and I was devastated. I need that money. I'm saving up so that I can actually study something and have a better life. My parents help out when they can, but they're also living paycheck to paycheck. I understood from early on that I would have to figure out my own future, and that was fine for me. Now my plans have to pause because of that damn woman. I called Stacy to ask for her 2 cents on it. She told me that she heard her mom laughing with my grandma about how she had squished me for daring to think that I could embarrass her in front of her guests. She was very sorry and said she would help me with anything that I needed. There was nothing she could do to help me, but I was thankful for her support. She even told me that she would help me look for another job. I'm not about to wait to be fired in a couple of days with no backup plan. For now, I have to handle my parents. They're fuming, saying that I should have gone to them before I contacted that crazy woman. They're right, I should have asked them first, and I feel terrible now. Narrator's opinion. Poor OP. Now she's definitely regretting ever contacting that woman. And damn, who could have seen Grandma framing OP for theft? It's disappointing how her manager handled that situation. Surely everyone who works with OP knows the kind of person she is, and if she's capable of stealing. On top of that, how cruel to call the cops on her and try to get her arrested when they never even had proof. That's not just pettiness, it's wickedness. Should OP have fought harder to keep her job, or would that have landed her in more trouble? Update 2. 2 weeks later. Wow, karma does not play around. I just got a call from Stacy to tell me that the old woman collapsed last week and has been in the hospital ever since. It appears that she's going to be staying there for a while because she has kidney failure. Apparently, she's been sick for a while now and has been unable to find a donor. Stacy told me that she was woken up very early days ago and told that she had to get tested. Everyone in the family was being tested because they're hoping for a match. They need a good match for someone who's healthy. The people that do match are quite old and would probably not survive the surgery. Everyone else that they've been testing does not match. Stacy's still waiting for her test results and she's terrified. She said that she's never had surgery before and is terrified of hospitals. Despite knowing that, her mom dragged her to get tested. She said that it was clear her mom was doing all that so she could suck up to Stacy's grandma. She told me that her mom has had her eye on grandma's fortune for a while. No one knows who has the best chance of getting what because she's so secretive. Therefore, Stacy's mom is doing her best to increase the chances of them getting quite a lot of money after grandma passes, which is probably not going to be soon. Stacy gave me some of the tea about her medical history. She told me that there was no person in the world more afraid of death than my grandmother. She beat cancer 2 times in a row because she refused to die. She has had many different illnesses, and right when people think she's done for, she recovers. She fears death more than anything in the world and will do anything to stay alive. Maybe she fears what will be waiting for her after she dies. After all, she does not seem like that great of a person. Honestly, I don't feel sorry for her after what she did. We've agreed as the whole family to ignore them if they try to get us to donate. She has refused to acknowledge us as her family for years, so this is what she deserves. She had better hope that someone in the family is a match because we are not helping her. She's caused too much pain to my parents for me to forgive her. Did I tell you that she tried to buy off my mom so that she could abandon my dad? My mom was heavily pregnant with me at the time. When mom told my dad, he wanted to cut off all ties with grandma. However, his dad tried to maintain the peace. Peace was maintained for 10 years. Grandma could not say or do anything out of respect for grandpa. However, he passed away when I was turning 10. She went back to her behavior. My parents were over it, so they moved and cut her off. Due to work, we ended up in the town close to them. However, we never ran into any of our family members until I met Stacy. They planned on keeping the truth from me until I was much older and could understand. They were about to tell me the truth when I got arrested. That was when they knew it was too late. I had found out the kind of person that she was. I hate her with a passion, to be honest. I believe her ill treatment of the people around her is the same reason that she's sick. What does she expect when she gets people suspended for nothing? I'm not going to see her or talk to her at all. I'm also not going to test to see if I'm a match. She can pass away and face what it is that she's afraid of. I know that probably was very cruel of me to say. When it comes to her, I feel absolutely nothing. She does not see me as a human being worthy of respect, so why should I also see her as one? Narrator's opinion. What? Who would have expected the old woman to collapse after all that wickedness? Now this makes things very interesting for OP. Luckily, her parents have told her the entire truth about her grandmother, and they've all decided to stay away. However, it appears that drama has been following OP around a lot lately. Can she really stay away, or is she just going to end up getting caught in this as well? What if that family blames her for her grandmother's collapse? On another note, how juicy is the history between OP's parents and grandmother? She even went as far as to try to bribe OP's mother. Now that's another level of desperation. Update 3, 2 weeks later. Well, there's been a slight change in plans. I'm going to donate my kidney to my grandma after all. There's a 90% chance of this happening if she accepts the terms that I laid out for her. I am her last hope, so the deal is close to done. But I know that I have set out some very difficult terms for her, which are going to take a lot out of her to fulfill. I got the idea when Stacy asked me if I could maybe consider getting tested. She said that grandma was willing to give the person who could donate to her anything that they wanted. Stacy reminded me of my situation. She said that maybe this was my chance to turn things around and use the person who ruined them in the first place. She said that she did not care too much about what happened to the old woman, but she did care about my future. She asked if I did not want a fighting chance. I thought about what she said for a while. Sure, my dad hates his mom and doesn't want to help him. However, what if I could finally get revenge for all that she did to us? Use her for our gain so that our lives can improve. There was no shame in that, considering all that she'd done to me. I trusted her and agreed to do the tests. Several days later, I got my test results back. She was right. Fate was a comedian. I was the perfect match for my grandma who hated me. The grandma who accused me of being a drug dealer and a thief. I had all the cards that I needed, and I was sure as hell going to use them. Sure enough, grandma got word that I was her perfect match, and she sent for me. She was a lot nicer to me now that she was weak and needed my help. She offered me some money in exchange for my kidney. I told her that it was not enough. It would not fix the way that she treated me and imploded my life. I had 3 requests for her. If she did those 3 things for me, then I would happily donate my kidney to her. She told me to state my conditions, which were, firstly, she was going to cover my entire college tuition for as long as I wanted to study. She agreed to that and told me to consider it done. I told her that I was not done yet. Secondly, she was going to clear my name of the theft accusations, publicly. She was going to speak to my manager and get me reinstated. I only planned to keep on working there till I started college. I actually liked the customers. They made it a pleasure to work there. She said that she would do that and asked what my final condition was. My last request was that she was going to have to donate money and pledge support to an organization that helped Mexican immigrants in our country. She looked at me like I had just sprouted two heads. She told me that was not a cause that she believed in. I told her it was not negotiable, and she had the rest of the week to think about it, and then I left. Now I'm waiting for her response. Let me see how badly she wants to live. Narrator's opinion. Last time OP was feeling pitiful and hopeless because she lost her job. She was about to give out, and then bam! An opportunity of a lifetime landed in her lap. Who could have seen this coming? She was right that fate can be a comedian. The daughter of the woman that her grandma despised is her saving grace. I'm sure this has given her a lot to think about when she calls people drug dealers. Also, look at OP being badass and giving this woman strict conditions. Now that is a chance of a lifetime that OP decided not to let get past her. That is some sweet revenge. Update 4, 1 month later. She agreed to my terms just a day after I posted the update. I got a message from my manager telling me that I could come back to work soon, along with an apology. After that, her lawyer contacted me informing me that she was going to create a college fund for me. When I told my parents, they were overwhelmed. They were concerned about me undergoing surgery, especially to help Grandma. Dad even offered to take out loans to help me if I just dropped it. I told them that what I was doing was a statement to her and the rest of the family. They treated us like we were not valuable or human. We had to remind them that we are human, worthy of respect, and valuable. In the end, Mom convinced my dad to accept it. She told me that she was so proud of me for securing my future. She felt I was reminding her every day that I was now a young woman that she could be proud of. Of course, they fussed over me in the days leading up to the surgery. They were very scared as they knew it was a very risky surgery. I was down for several hours and woke up a day later. They had to keep me down for a while because I lost quite a bit of blood during the surgery. When I woke up, I was in a world of pain. Thankfully, my parents and Stacy were right there when I woke up. They told me that the surgery went well. They were going to keep Grandma there for some observation, but so far so good. I had saved her life. I was very happy that the surgery went well. To be honest, I had been so terrified that maybe I gambled everything for nothing. What use would my sacrifice have been if I ended up dying? I still could not believe that I had the guts to make a deal with her. Now, I needed to see the final request granted. When I went down, the lawyers were still working on the donation. I was told that in a few days, everything was going to be finalized. I knew that it was going to cause stirs among the family members. I had interacted with some of them in the days leading up to the surgery, and they did not seem happy with me. Maybe they were jealous because I was the one who saved the day. They had no idea that I would have traded the chance with any of them any time. I knew that some of them thought the same way as Grandma did about me. It was supposed to hurt me, but it did not. I realized they were not relevant to my life story. They were just standby people that I had the unfortunate luck of sharing blood with. Now that my duty was done, I did not need to have anything to do with them. The only family member I needed to have in my life was Stacy. She had been my rock throughout all of this. She's the reason I was able to salvage what I had and actually go back to a normal life. She's more than just family, she's a friend. She was also brave enough to tell her mom to shut up when she accused me of exploiting Grandma. She said that the whole family practically owed me for what they let happen to me because of Grandma. That finally got her whiny mom to shut up. I really do appreciate her and will find a way to thank her when I recover. I'm recovering quite well. Soon I'm going to be able to be my normal self and I'm so happy about that. Narrator's opinion. Luckily, OP's surgery was a success. It must have been so painful to go through that. I'm sure her parents were scared. No parent should ever have to go through something so scary. I'm sure they wished to stop her. Do you think they should have done more to stop her considering the risks? After all, she was risking it all for someone who did not even care about her. Hopefully, she has a speedy recovery and her grandmother will honor each and every one of her wishes. OP is very brave for what she did. What's next for her? Hopefully, she gets to start college soon. Final update, 7 months later. The last thing my grandma said to me was that she never knew a weakling like me could have so much power. It was the last day that I visited her in the hospital. Everything had just been finalized for the charity, and she had just been announced as a donor. The aftermath was interesting. She was getting a lot of positive press from the Hispanic community, while the people she associated herself with were not that happy. Stacy was my source on this. She said that many people in the family were feeling that their matriarch was losing the plot. I did not care what everyone thought. All I cared about was that it was done, and I did not have to have anything to do with her ever again. I visited her one last time to tell her that she would never have to see me again. I thanked her for her donation, even if it was forced. Before I left, she stopped me. She asked why I never asked for much more. I asked what she meant. She said that when she nearly died, she was willing to give up her entire fortune to live. I told her that I did not want everything that she worked for, only what I deserved. She then said that she never expected me to be so powerful when I looked so weak. I smiled at her and told her that she had underestimated me, and then I left. I have not heard from her ever since. I finally got to start college several months ago, and I'm happy. I do not have to stress about my tuition. All I have to do is work hard and get good grades. I do miss my mom and dad sometimes, but we call and text as much as we can. They told me they were using some of the money that I gave them to import some things and sell them. So far it's going well and they're able to make a little extra income. I think this is great because they can finally get up to saving for their retirement. I'm just happy that I no longer have to be a burden on them and that my life is finally progressing. And of course, Stacy and I are still very close. We have seen each other several times since I got my surgery. I finally managed to thank her for what she did for me. Let's just say I got her something that she truly values, and she was very thankful to me. In my first post, I regretted ever contacting my grandmother, but now I feel the opposite. I'm glad that I went through all of that. It led me here, to a position where I can change my life. If you're going through a difficult patch at the moment, please remember my story. Use that bad situation as a lesson and get something out of it. There's never a bad situation, just a good lesson. I can definitely say that optimism has helped me to change things around. Comments. Comment 1. I cannot believe that there are people who are so prejudiced that they would deny their family members. Honestly, I admire your bravery for standing up to your grandmother, OP. You got everything you deserved after the way that she treated you. I wish I could have seen the look on her face when you told her that she had to donate to the organization that helps refugees. It's so kind of you to always be thinking of others, even when faced by such a situation. I do not know you, but I can tell that you are very strong and resilient. Can we also talk about the sassy moment when you got to see your grandmother for the last time? It was giving girl boss. Standing up to someone who bullied your family for many years. Honestly, your grandmother does not deserve to be in your life. I'm glad you cut her off after giving her what she wanted. She might have gained a few extra years, but I highly doubt they're not miserable. Comment 2. While it's good that you stood up for yourself, I feel that the way you handled it was towing the unethical side. I get that the woman was horrible to you and your parents, but seriously, blackmailing an old woman on her deathbed? I just think that you're better than her and should not have stooped to her level. I'm not at all supporting what she did to you. She came after you unnecessarily by costing you your job, and I'm so sorry about that. However, I feel that you should have just walked away. You clearly did not want to give her a kidney, so maybe you should not have. She seems to be someone who has enough money to sort that problem out. You should have sat it out and focused on your own life. I agree with your parents that surgery was way too dangerous. Would it have been worth it if things went wrong? You're young and you have to enjoy your life. She's old and has lived long enough. Sorry if it seems like I'm scolding you, but I was so concerned. Narrator's opinion. Well, that was incredibly perplexing. Just when I thought it was over for OP and she was going to be in a worse place than she started, she managed to use the opportunity to her advantage. However, it was so scary for her to risk her life like that for someone who has never acknowledged her. Sure, she found a way to leverage that, but it was still scary. Thank goodness she survived and things worked out for her. At least she had Stacy with her every step of the way. Though the two of them barely know each other, it's clear they have a connection and have the potential to be lifetime friends.